Hi, you're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV. I'm Ishan Russell, and India Post Live is, of course, a forum for you to come in and participate. So join us by social media. On Twitter, you can use hashtag India Post Live with your tweets, or you can use our Twitter handle. That's at India Post Live. On Facebook, we have a page called India Post Live. You can go ahead, like it, comment over there, post pictures or share videos. And in case you want to watch this, and in case you are watching this live, you're, of course, watching this live on IndiaPostLive.com. So you can go ahead and watch many other videos that we have for you as well. There's a wall for you to comment over there as well, and in case you think there's a point that we've missed out, a point of view, your point of view, so you can tell us, you can send us a participation request, you can come in via Skype or Google Hangout and literally be the expert. So the issue that we're talking about today is, for me as a resident of Delhi, makes me hang my head down in shame. A young man is killed in the middle of the night for no apt reason. Why? Just because he hails from a particular part of the country. This is a reality in Delhi today, and it's really a shame. We'll just take you through the story first and then we'll talk about it.
National outrage follows as attacks on the people from the northeast continue in Delhi. Our eastern cousins have been subject to the racial abuses in the Indian capital, right from the gruesome death of Nido Tanya from Arunachal Pradesh to Shalini from Manipur, who was beaten to death this Sunday. Crime record available with the Delhi police shows it has received 47 complaints from the northeasterners, but only 15 FIRs have been registered in last 6 months. Though protests from the northeastern groups to human rights activists continue, our politicians are only paying lip service. Sadly, no substantial change is likely to happen to the attitude of the civil society till a concerted effort is made by all sections of the society.
Well, a concerted effort really is required, but there has to be accountability. There has to be law, that fear of the law. This is really a change that has happened in Delhi, be it rapes, be it ghastly crimes like these. There is a problem with the mindset. There is a problem with our psyche in Delhi, and I think let's explore that question today. We have with us Seema Guha. She's a senior journalist, a veteran of many scenes from foreign affairs to covering various parts of the country and northeast also, and she's also from the northeast, and that's why she's here. Also, Hise Bhutia is with us. She's a journalist and our very own journalist, and feels very strongly about this issue. And thanks very much, Hise, for coming in and sharing your opinion with us. We're also joined by Suhas Chakma. He is the director at the Asian Center for Human Rights. Thanks very much, Suhas, for coming in. Also, Rujio Usham joins us. He's a PhD scholar from the Jawaharlal Nehru University. And we're also joined by Al White, who's also from JNU, the School of International Studies, and specializing in West Asian studies, and we are expected to be joined by another journalist, Lavan Maitham, who will be joining us from Delhi as well. But Seema, where does this start? How does one come to comprehend such a crime? What do you call it?
I really don't know. I mean, it's just amazing. It is the mindset of the people. It's, as I was telling you earlier, it's like rape. You know, you go on focusing on it, you try to take measures, but you know, the mindset is like that. What can you do? You are so used to a certain way of thinking that people who don't look exactly like you, don't behave exactly like you, become targets. I mean, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to. Policing is not the only answer. It's a change of mindset, and I don't know how you can bring it about. I really don't know. It's really tough. Because if the people think like that, I mean, there can be policing, you might be given lectures, or people will say you shouldn't do this, blah, blah, blah. But if you think like that, who can do anything?
But where does that thought stem from? That is perhaps, I mean, given experiences that you've all had, I mean, you've been living in Delhi for some time now, and what the police figures say about the number of FIRs that have been registered, I mean, just from your experiences with your friends, etc., you would have more ghastly stories than the number of crimes that are being reported.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've been through, you know, like horrific situations, you know, just because I'm from Northeast, like, be it on the street, be it in a club, be it in a shopping mall, be it in my professional life. Even as a journalist, working as a journalist in Delhi, I have faced racism. And that was one of the reasons why I quit my job before. I mean, I even had to quit my job because they won't do anything about it. So I was like, okay, fine, I don't need your job, but I would not want to work in such a place where I have to face racial discrimination just because I belong to a northeastern state. I mean, as like Seema ma'am said, there has to be a change in the mindset in the change of, I won't say just people from the rest of the India, but also there has to be a change of mindset in even people from northeast. Like there shouldn't be a fear of just because I'm a northeast, no, I don't want to go out, you know. There has to be a change of mindset from both the sides.
All right, the change of mindset from both sides certainly is required. I want to go across to Rogio, who joins us from JNU. Rogio, the problem has been there for some time now. There have been various steps that have been promised that would be taken, but it just does not seem to go away. While we might be saying that mindsets have to be changed, how does one go about changing those mindsets? Roger, I was asking you. All right, Suhas, I'll pose the same question to you. How do you go about changing mindsets?
The problem is. Can I answer?
All right, so sure, go ahead. Suhas, we'll just come back to you.
Answer?
Yeah.
The problem is a deeply. Hello. The problem is a deeply rooted political problems, and one has to address these political problems. For the last 60 years, Northeast has been denied, Northeast has been excluded and stereotyped. Way back at home, we are vulnerable. Way back at home, we are vulnerable. We are not safe, and outside home, we are not safe.
All right, so you're saying the deep-rooted political problems, perhaps when they are addressed, when India also, I mean, the rest of the northeastern part of India feels more integrated with India, perhaps that will change things around. So, Has, would you concur with that?
No, I think, look, this is a massive problem which we need to look at. There have been worse crimes in the world, such as the apartheid in South Africa. I mean, the first issue for any problem is to recognize its existence. Now the question is, does the government of India, as a matter of policy, recognize that this is a country of different races? Myself and yourself are different racially, so as much as we look facially, which is apparent in the face. Now when there are different kind of peoples in a country of the diverse nature of India, then the first steps for the government of India is to recognize that there are different racial groups. One group or people belonging to one group, we will at some point of time discriminate, resort to violence against another group. So now the question is, do you recognize this problem? The government of India has not recognized these problems in the last 60 years. Until today, the government of India maintains at the United Nations that there are no racial discrimination in India. Now the question is, if you do not recognize that there are racial discrimination in the country, obviously you will never go to address that problem. That's the first issue. The second issue is mindset. How do you change the mindset? Then obviously, there are countries which have faced far more racial discrimination and acts of racial violence than India itself. Now if these problems cannot be resolved by those countries, obviously we cannot resolve. Now if you look at the Western European countries which face acute racial discrimination and acts of racial discrimination in their countries, how do they resolve it? And our problems are not as acute as their cases. I think the first way to resolve this is to enforce the law. Now for enforcement of the law, you need to recognize the racial discrimination, because if you do not make it as an offense, you will continue to treat this as a normal case of murder, normal case of physical assault, which is not sufficient. So the first for you recognize, second you have the legal framework to ensure that the law is enforced, and third, which is also more important, is raising awareness. Raising awareness, how do you raise awareness? The first way of raising awareness is of course raising awareness about different kind of people who live in this country, Now look at the NCERT textbooks, any textbook, is there any reference to any of the communities from the Northeast? They do not exist. So people, when they go to school or universities, they tend to believe that you are either, if you look slightly fairer, okay, you might be Japanese or Chinese, and if you are not fairer, you are a Nepali. Because that's the understanding of their geography. So how do you improve that? You improve that by including the people from the Northeast in the textbook. So that's one way. The second way is look at the Doordarshan. Now, on the other mass media, the government of India doesn't include any kind of awareness programs, and whatever has been done, it has been done by the private TV channels. Before the private TV channels came or into existence in India, people of this mainland India had little idea or no idea about the Northeast. So you have to have that kind of a program to raise mass awareness through mass media as well as through school curriculum. So the government of India has failed both accounts. They are not willing even today enactment of a law, and they are not changing the syllabus. So what can we expect? You have an incident, minister visits, police investigates the culprits, and at some stage the investigation will be, diluting the charges. I mean, that was the case with the CBI. CBI, what they had done with the Tanya case, basically dilute the charges. From other charges, you have basically what's reduced to culpable homicide, not among the mother. Basically, there was no element of conspiracy. When the boys got together, that went in a trap.
All right, fair enough. So there is a lot lacking, whether we talk in terms of investigations as far as Neeru Tanya's death was concerned, or even activism, awareness. A lot is to be desired. Alvite, you've studied, you're in the School of International Studies. You've visited many countries. You've understood how the dynamics work over there. In India, I mean, the point is that India takes often pride in the fact that we're a multicultural, multi-religious, multi-language country with so many diverse ethnicities, but it really seems, looking at this, that that is not the case, that the pride somewhere is not there, that you really don't believe in that pride.
Good afternoon, Russell. At the outset, my deepest condolences to the family of the deceased and the near and dear ones. Coming back to this situation, to the ongoing situation, it is very unfortunate that we have seen this kind of a crime against I say, humanity, especially again from the people from the Northeast. In a span of, say, in the last 4 to 5 months, we have seen number of cases, and there's no stop to it, and I don't see any stop coming in the way. But coming down to what the earlier speakers have spoken, I would agree to what has been discussed so far. This about the fear of the law. There doesn't seem to be a fear of the law in these people, in this part of the city or in the country. The second is the psyche again, which you mentioned in your introductory remarks. It's kind of taken for granted, like people with different looks, people with different features, different cultures, traditions, and coming to this kind of a place, it's a kind of taken for granted that there's an automatic alienation of these people, and I completely agree with this.
Why somebody might be different, why would you target somebody? Why would you be violent towards somebody? These activities or these incidents have, seem to have gained momentum over the recent past. So is there something to do with the socio-economic realm in the living in these areas, perhaps? Is there something
probably, I strongly believe in this concept of the mindset, which is very entrenched in this minds of these people that they cannot accept an outsider with this kind of features, coming here, and mostly our silence is often mistaken for our weaknesses. But that is not the case. Over the past few months, myself along with my friend Roggio, we had taken part in various discussions in JNU campus, and we had discussed how we as a student can contribute in bringing a change in bringing a change, how to fight this or how to combat this menace in Delhi. And I'm sure people from different cities in India are also doing the same thing. There needs to be a constant engagement with the people in this part of the country. In the first place, not only say I cannot talk about political whatever law and order, but what I as a citizen or what I as a human being can do is to kind of constantly engage, and we talk about how to change this mindset. the change in this mindset can be started. Several initiatives can be taken up in schools and colleges, street plays in different parts of the city, not only in known places, but there are really interior places where there is no any idea about what is Northeast all about, what kind of people stay there, what kind of food we eat, what kind of music we listen to, what kind of whatever. So there needs to be a constant engagement, and we have to go extra miles to, kind of instill in these people that yes, there exists a region in this part of the world, in this part of the country, which is also,
Yeah, but fine. All right. At the end of the day, I mean, it's really sad that it's incumbent upon you to make a country aware of your existence in your own country.
That's it. That is all we have to do now, right? Like we cannot rely on political promises. We cannot rely on politicians' promises that we will do this, we will do that. But we have to fight it out. And according to me, this is one of the ways that we can fight it out. I have been staying for the last 18 years out of my state, like many years in South India, especially in Hyderabad. Then I'm back to Delhi. But while I was in Hyderabad, I didn't see that kind of on this scale. And
Yeah,
probably I was fortunate enough to have not encountered this kind of a problem. And right now I'm staying in a campus which is supposedly very safe and secure. But I won't be surprised the moment I step out of my campus.
I mean, most of many incidents like in Munirka is right across your campus, it's across the road from there. So, I mean, the Seema, the point is that where does the violence stem from? That is what I can't seem to put a tab on. Why is there the violence? I mean, we've seen in the past, is it politically motivated right now? Why is this happening? Because, for example, in Maharashtra, I mean, you had Shiv Sena versus the Tamils, and you had Shiv Senas versus the North Indians or the Biharis, as they said. Or taxi drivers. So, there was always a socio-economic element. And could there be a socio-economic element over here as well?
I really don't think so, because people from the Northeast, what are the jobs that they are taking? They're not taking away jobs from locals here. I don't think so. They are working in...
But I'll get Hesse in, because Hesse, the point is, because my theory, a little bit of a theory, and I don't know, I'll run it by you guys, is that there are certain areas where this is happening, be it Lajpat Nagar, be it Humayunpur, in South Delhi, all these areas in South Delhi, Munirka, and they're often inhabited by a lot of people from the Northeast. And the fact is, a different lifestyle, perhaps rents have increased over the years, making it difficult for other people to come into those areas. Things like that, could they have bred resentment enough to go ahead and kill somebody?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so that should be the reason, but I think a lot of time people, they just, like, if I'm walking in this street, just because there's so much things around us that, okay, from people from Northeast, the culture is different, they are dressed differently,
They're supposedly free.
They're supposedly free. Girls are easy. That's what they think about us. Girls are easy. Just because I'm wearing a spaghetti, I'm wearing hot pants, they think that we're easy. But that's not the case. I mean, though we are culturally different, we look different, our eating habits might differ from you, but we are not different. We're Indians after all, and I think people need to understand that. I mean, because my friends, they had this incident just sometime back in Delhi, in South Delhi, that they wanted to shift and they moved in to, and then they paid the rent, they paid everything advance money, and in the middle of the night, 11 o'clock in the night, they went to the new place with their things, and then suddenly all the people, that happened in South Delhi, everyone from the neighbors, they all came out and said that you cannot move in here. Because, and they said, why? We paid the money, we have paid the money, why won't you let us stay? And they said, because you are from Northeast, because you people eat different food, you have different culture, you are dressed, you all boys and girls stay together, and then you party. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, if given a chance, if you have to send your child tomorrow outside Delhi, I'm sure even he or she would do the same. He or she would also, because we are young people, we party. What's wrong in that?
I mean, that is your social group. When you don't have your family, you rely on friends, and that is what people don't understand.
Even if they don't, suppose they want to party, whose business is it? I mean, this is really irritating.
People playing loud Punjabi music and drinking
in there it's okay.
I live with a male friend. I live. He's not my boyfriend. He's just a friend. I mean, my family know about it. They're cool about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a roommate. Ultimately, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive to live in the city. But Suhas, at the end of the day, I just want to pose a question to you as well. We have seen incidents, politically motivated incidents. For example, when the Aam Aadmi Party government was in Delhi, you had a minister called Somnath Bharti who went and conducted a midnight raid and wanted to get African people out of those living quarters because there was political pressure. Do you think things like these perhaps the elections in Delhi around the corner, things like these could be a rallying force, could be used as a political tool by some people?
Not necessarily. I think Somnath Bharti is an exception. He's a loud, literate fellow. So, Somnath Bharti is not necessarily the right example. The way I look at it, I think the people who come from the Northeast India, they are actually doing very odd jobs. They can't afford to leave what you in Delhi would consider posh or proper residential areas, where you have much more educated people and where you would face less discrimination. And now if you look at Monirika itself, there's a distinction between Monirika Gaon, which is just opposite the JNU, which is a village, and the DDA colonies in Monirika.
I live in the DDA flat. So.
Yes. The moment you enter the village, you basically have people who have not even completed their educations, possibly from the MCD school nearby. And now where does the violence take place? The violence usually is not committed by a poor person who is powerless. The violence is often committed by people who are in a middle class person, somebody who is traveling in America. He has enough money and possibly he or she is uneducated. But the fact that because of the upward movement in Delhi, in and around, you have large number of people who are basically uneducated but loaded with money, and because they have money, they believe that they are actually above the law. So when they see someone who is actually outside Delhi and they think this person has no connection, and obviously the propensity to attack, increases. If you look at the incidents, you would often see the incidents are not taking place between the laborer or the people from the Northeast. It's either the landlord or landlord's son or somebody else who has sufficient money and for whom, given a connection, whether it's Haryanvi or the Punjabi connections, they believe that they can get away with whatever they do from the people who are vulnerable. So there is a socio-economic dimension to it that, I have not seen actually in the areas where I live, people who have served in the Northeast, they hold any prejudices against the people in the Northeast. But that immediately changes if you go to a neighborhood where you will have the people who are less, educated. So that's what I was stating. You have to have the law in force because that's essential to create the fear of the law, as one of my colleagues had mentioned. And secondly, unless you actually drastically change the education system to reflect the social groups, racial groups in the country, I don't see how are you going to actually do that. And we have no problem with it because in the Northeast, possibly we know more about Munshi Premchand, Rabindranath Tagore and anybody else than Northeast people have heard anything about the Northeast. They have not even heard about the entire community, including my community. I belong to a community which is called Chakma, which is a negative word, pejorative word in Hindi. So they have not possibly even heard of the community name. So that's why, you have to address this, and there is a socio-economic angle. I am sure if the people of the Northeast, if they could afford to live, say, in Basan Bihar or, Sabjung area, development area, that is a bit different. But Sabjung development area and Arjun Nagar behind it, there's a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that.
Yeah, I live in one of those, so I know the difference. Okay.
I know that there is a socio-economic dimension to it, but I don't fully agree with what Mr. Suhas said because, I've never stayed in Monirika, I've never stayed in Kotla. I don't know how it is like to be there, but I have stayed in South Delhi. Right now I'm staying in Gautam Nagar, but Gautam Nagar is a fairly decent place. And there also I see, like I said before, because I have faced that in my professional life because my senior, my editor, once he said that, oh, that's Chinky. She Chinky. What does she know? And I just completely lost it. And it's. I don't want to even talk about it. I feel disgusted. What can you expect?
This is Seema, a news organization.
And that's a news organization. That's what I'm saying. And he's been into this field for the past, I don't know, maybe more than 20 years.
Seema, what would you say to that?
I mean, it's just, I just don't know. But then in news organizations also, you have so many idiots anyway.
Yeah,
well, it doesn't matter. Just because you're a journalist, it doesn't change you from.
No, but the point is,
you meet more people.
It's not a laborer who's doing it. It's not the uneducated person. This is a literate person who's educated, who's driving cars, who can afford a lot more luxuries, and he's venting out anger. I mean, from road rage to this is what Delhi has come to, from road rage to Nirbhaya and rapes to just killing randomly people on the street.
Well, one thing I wanted to say, I think there was a Bez Barua commission or something that went into after the murder of this young boy. They had recommended that there should be representation in the police force. Maybe women police officers from the Northeast. Maybe that's a good idea. I think they should have better representation in the police and post them in areas where there are this big sort of communities.
Okay.
I don't know, this is short term.
Yeah, but short term, long term, any kind of solution I think would help right now. There have been various solutions that have tried to create awareness. In fact, what we've tried to do as well is try to create a little bit more awareness, try to get people involved, try to get people to talk about it, because I think once you start talking about things, people really do become aware of their own mindsets and their own, the way they're often biased, and that is what we tried to do on Facebook. We put a poll out there, and on the poll we asked people, do you believe the people from the Northeast face racial discrimination in Delhi and North India? And no surprise, 86% said yes, 11% I don't know why say no, and 3% are not sure. So the problem is there is that 11%. So there might be 86% of people in Delhi who might be completely aware, or whether they're not aware, would not just resort to violence, but there is an 11% who would say that, I mean, I don't think that you're being racially discriminated against. So it's really sad what statistics often throw up, but the reality on the ground is also very sad. And Seema, I'll give you the final word that in terms of solutions, we've seen a lot. Let's talk about that. If you one thing that you could change, or just not generically in terms of a mindset, but one active change that could perhaps make a little bit of a difference.
I really don't know what would make any difference at all, but as I was saying, perhaps have some women police officers or police officers from the Northeast put in places where they will answer. You know what also happens is when there is an SOS call or call to the police, they'll be speaking in Hindi. I myself have a problem with my Hindi, and I can well imagine how others have, and those police guys also won't understand this Northeastern thing, and they just keep down the phone and they won't go, all this. You should have someone who maybe from the Northeast who can man some of these booths. I don't know, that sounds too stupid and too simple, but I just don't know how to change anything unless people have to change their attitude, and the Northeasterners also should make an effort. It should be both sides, as she was saying. They should also
would that be your solution?
Yeah, I would say that there has to be a change in the mindset from both parties. We as a community, we must not feel that, oh, I shouldn't go out there. I mean, I don't feel safe. No, I'd say that why not? Don't hide inside your homes. Just go outside. Make people aware what you are, about your culture, about girls saying that no, we are not easy. We have to bring a change somewhere. So we as a community, we must do that. We cannot just rely on the cops all the time. We cannot say that, oh, the government promised this, they didn't deliver. No, we cannot. We as a community must do this, and we should stop fearing that, no, we are not safe in Delhi. No.
All
right, perhaps what the
thing she said.
Yes, and on that rather positive note, I'd like to wrap up. We've run out of time. So sorry, Alvite, Suhas and Roji, I'm not giving you any more time to speak, but thanks for coming in and sharing your opinions and perspectives with us. It was a pleasure having you guys on the show, and we'll of course be talking about this issue a lot more, and would love to have you in, and as well as you, Seema and Hisse, to talk more about this, because Hisse, at the end of the day, I mean, I'd give you the closing word on this. You've put it very well, but in terms of just one thing that you would like, you said about fear, as far as fear often takes over people, they do not go report crimes.
Yes,
as a message, if you could just give to the people of how not to fear anything.
Like, I would say that, I mean, like I said, like, we have to stop fearing that, that just because you are a Northeast, so you belong to a Northeastern state, we are different, I mean, you shouldn't feel that, no, I shouldn't go out in the night because you feel threatened. No, I think we should stop fearing, and I think we should, as a community, we must work together to bring about awareness, and also and also the government should also, I think, like Mr. Swaz said, that there has to be a, the books, the NCERT books must mention like the Northeastern states. I mean, that's very important. I think the education system has to change, and I would say that just stop fearing. There's no need to fear. Just go out and just live a normal life. That's what I would say. And if there's any case that you face a discrimination, you feel discriminated, you must fight it out. You must not keep you must not keep quiet. You must report it to the cops, or what I do is like I just fight it out. I mean, I just fight back.
Alright, so it's high time that we all fight back perhaps, and really that is what Delhi needs to do. So if you live in Delhi and you think this is wrong, if you live in any part of India, any part of the world, you think this is wrong, well, it's time to fight back. Join the cause. We'll start a little bit of a hashtag. We'll talk about discrimination that people face from the Northeast. The hashtag, as Hise put it, is hashtag fight back. So let's bring out the stories that you faced in terms of discrimination. Let's talk about it. Let's create awareness and use the hashtag fight back, and we'll of course continue talking about this issue. Thanks so much for watching.